Hey everybody, welcome. What is up? So good to see so many people. We have a lot of people signed up for this class. I am not surprised. It's with our buddies over at Fulton Fish Market, which is the best of the best. We're going to get into them, and whenever we have a Fulton Fish Market class, it does feel like everyone comes out to enjoy. Fish is just, and seafood is just one of those things that I think a lot of us love, but a lot of us are a little intimidated by. So I'm really excited to kind of tackle one that we always cook today, which is salmon, and one that we probably never cook, which is anchovies, whole fresh anchovies. And we are making the most delightful, perfect for summer, seafood Caesar salad. And I don't know about you guys, but Caesar salad for me, maybe top 10 favorite foods in the world. I am a Caesar addict. Is that a thing? I am addicted to Caesar salad. Like, if I see a Caesar salad on a menu, almost always I have to order it. It's one of those things. I just grew up eating it. I love it. But like anything, and like the title of our company, we all know that a Caesar salad that is homemade will always trump store-bought. So we're going to show you our favorite Caesar salad and then top that with, again, two types of fish. We're going to do a blackened Atlantic salmon, and we're going to do a whole kind of fried anchovy. It's going to be so good, so different. I'm really excited about it. If we have not met before, I am Joel. I'm the head chef here at Homemade. I'm also the founder. Really excited to be cooking with you guys today. In the chat with us, if you want to interact with her, she is amazing, incredible chef. Give it up for Chef Lisa. What's up, Lisa?
Hi, Chef Joel. This is going to be amazing. Best Caesar salad ever.
It honestly, it's going to go up there as one of the best Caesar salads ever. My kids eat Caesar salad. It's just like, who doesn't love a good Caesar? And I think if you're here, you're on that boat. But there are some tricks. I will say there's some things that you could do to kind of elevate your Caesar game. And there's also some, I'd say, shortcuts. And this is exactly how I do my Caesar salads. And I feel like if you can follow this and kind of track, you will just like have this in your back pocket and use it all the time. So, like always, what separates Homemade from everywhere else, besides the fact that we are awesome, is that you can interact with us. So if you can share your screen like so many of our friends out there are, you can raise your hand and ask a question. We can call on you. If that's not your thing, you could just talk to Lisa in the chat. And there might be a lot of questions about Fulton Fish Market, so please bring them through. All I have to say is in a day where you can get seafood delivered to your door and it's 24 hours later from the best, most curated, unbelievable group of people in the world from New York, Fulton Fish Market is like the spot. So we'll talk more about them. They've been around for 200 years. So they know their fish and seafood. All right, let's start with the salad though. Salad could not be more easy, and there's just a couple of tweaks we did to the Caesar to just make it, I think, a little bit different, a little bit, I don't know, not modern, but just give it a fresh take. So first and foremost, I've got my romaine. Got to find romaine. Now, when you look for romaine, always look for a tight head of romaine. So I kind of look in the grocery store and I'm like, okay, is it falling apart or is it kind of holding its shape? And that's step one. And then sometimes you have some kind of floppy bits. See that? You kind of hold it up and they just kind of flop off. I click those off, and you can freeze these, use them in lettuce soup, compost them, whatever you want to do. But I really am after kind of just the tight core here. And I always start with kind of the base, and I just cut this down. Okay? And you can dunk these and kind of rinse them like that, or you can kind of throw them in a salad spinner at this stage. But we rinsed ours before kind of whole. So what I'm going to do is take a handful of that romaine. I'm going to do it one more time just so you guys can see it. Romaine is like not my favorite lettuce. I just don't feel like it has, I don't know, a ton of flavor to it, but it's got a ton of texture to it. And for Caesar to have that kind of crunch is kind of second to none. But if you're not a romaine fan or just want to mix it up, sometimes it's fun to go with something that has the crunch but isn't romaine, isn't even lettuce. Like I've Caesar salad, like parsnip, like grated parsnips before, or celeriac, or oh my God, I've done roasted vegetables Caesar salad. So like, I don't want you to feel like you have to use the lettuce. Lettuce is classic. We love it. By the way, can we talk about this bowl color? Are you vibing on this, Lisa?
It's bright and just it pairs well with the lemons at the end.
I'm so into it. It looks so nice. All right. So first little tweak to the Caesar, the classic Caesar, is we are adding radicchio, not to be confused with purple cabbage. I don't know if you guys use like Instacart or these delivery things to your house. I've ordered radicchio more times than I can remember, and almost always purple cabbage shows up. I think most people don't know the difference. Radicchio is a lot easier to chew. It's a lot smaller, and I love it. I think it just adds a little bit of bitterness to this and some color. So I cut it down the middle, and then what I like to do is cut it again into kind of quarters. We're not going to use all of these. I'm going to actually save those. And then I just lay it on its side, and you can kind of see the core right here. So I just cut that out with my knife, kind of at an angle. So you're just left with something like that. I'll do it again so you can see. So I lay it on its side, and kind of just steep my knife in there and take the core out. And that should go with your lettuce that you're going to compost. Super easy. And then I just cut this in half again, or just bite-sized pieces, and I just cut that radicchio down to size. And I don't want you to overdo it with the radicchio. Just a nice little pop of color. And again, a little bit of bitterness goes a long way, because this is kind of a punchy dressing. Look at the color here. I just think that looks so much more interesting than like your typical Caesar, you know? And it doesn't need a ton. So that's kind of the base. We all tracking radicchio. We got a little bit of good old-fashioned romaine. Nothing crazy. By the way, celery would be really nice in there too, like shaved celery. Awesome. Okay, the dressing. This is like, let's be real. This is what Caesar's all about. Like if you screw up the dressing, the salad kind of falls flat. I'm calling a spade a spade. So I hack the dressing. And what I mean hack the dressing is every Caesar salad that you see tableside, or a lot of Caesar salads from scratch, they start with an egg yolk, which scares people, and I understand why. A lot of those egg yolks, you don't know where they're coming from. And then you make a mayonnaise, and you basically emulsify in fat or oil or something like that. So the first hack is, guess what? There's great mayonnaise out on the market these days. Go find your favorite mayo and start with that. Don't make your own mayonnaise. You can, but it skips you the whole raw egg bit. So I'm just grabbing my favorite mayo, and I'm just adding it right into a bowl. I'm going to see if I can do this over here so Mikhailo can pick it up. Mikhailo, can you see that better? No, not really. I'll put it right here. How about that? So mayo in. Next up, I've got mustard. Good Dijon mustard. And mustard just gives it a really nice warm heat, like a spiciness that I love. I absolutely love. Lemon juice, always, fresh squeezed, not the stuff that is already in the bottle. And then a little bit, I can never say it. I want to hear Lisa say it. Worcestershire sauce. Do you say? What do you say?
I say Worcestershire, but
You
I'm
say
from
Worcestershire.
Massachusetts,
I think
so
that's,
that might be it.
No, I think that's the way to say it. I say Worcestershire. Okay, put it in the chat. Do you say sheer or sure? Sheer or sure? No one can say this right. And then in the dressing, this is important for me, in the dressing goes Parmesan, about a handful. And again, if you've taken enough classes with me, you want to buy Parmesan as a hunk and then grate it, not the stuff that's already in a can pre-grade. So literally, I'm just talking about like a quarter of a cup of the Parmesan. Really, really simple. And then what makes a Caesar to me, beyond the Parmesan, beyond all that, and we'll talk about anchovy because anchovy's going in there, is garlic. You need a ton of garlic. And, you know, I don't mean you need to like blow your mouth away, but 4 cloves of garlic, that's a lot of garlic for a raw dressing. So we peeled the garlic. I'm just going to smash it really hard, just like this. And I'm going to take my knife, and I'm just going to start to kind of rock it through. And this is the most important part with this garlic is I don't like a Caesar where I get a piece of garlic that I'm chewing on. It's too big, it's too intense. So you really want to pulverize this garlic, right? Take it all the way down. Mince is not enough. We're going to make a paste out of this. We're going to make a paste. Now, The anchovy in the actual recipe today, we're going to be using whole anchovies. And again, getting those from just your neighborhood fish market, it's not going to happen. So this is why you want to go to somewhere like a Fulton Fish Market, who has not just anchovies, fresh anchovies, but they have the best ones that you can find. And they'll get it to you, again, right to your house. And so what I like to do is kick the anchovies out of the dressing and kind of into the salad with this one, which I love. So we've minced the garlic. I've shown this trick a ton, but if you're new here, welcome to the next days of your lives. We've minced the garlic. Michaela, yeah, there you go. Then I salt it. And then what I do is I take my knife and I kind of smear it in the salt. And the salt acts as a little bit of baby knives to help break it down, but it also takes out the water of the garlic, making it kind of translucent. And I'm just smearing this garlic, making a paste, a garlic paste. And I just gather that up, all up on my knife, and you're left with just this super intense, garlicky bomb, I'll go with. It's a garlic bomb. So I'm going to add that into the dressing. And by the way, in Worcestershire, which I don't think they've ever divulged their recipe. Someone's got to ChatGPT this, or they got to Google this, but like, what is in Worcestershire sauce? But I know there's anchovy, so you're still getting a little bit of anchovy there. All right, so I'm going to whisk this up. And I'll actually hold this here so you guys can kind of see. I'll tip it. But what I am looking for is a rather thick dressing. I don't like it too flowy, too runny. I find that it doesn't cling to the lettuces the way that I want it to. So you really want to whisk up that cheese. You really want to whisk up that garlic. And then at the very end, I add a ton of black pepper and a good pinch of salt. Let me show you how much black pepper. Big pinch. Okay. Hopefully you guys see. I want to see the black pepper specks in there. And a nice pinch of salt. And I like the black pepper because I like it spicy. But if you don't like it black pepper, take it out. All right. Give this a try. Foolproof. Foolproof. I'm telling you, save this recipe. Making your own Caesar salad dressing, you will try this. You will write into us. We get unbelievable feedback from you guys every day. I want to hear you guys make this. Like, this is the best Caesar salad dressing on earth. I'm making one more bite. It's a bold statement, but it is so good. It's just bright. It's salty. It's so umami. It's got so much going on. I love that. All right, moving on. Any questions about the dressing, about the lettuce? How we doing out there?
No questions so far, but we're
Yeah?
almost tied for Shire and Sure. So I don't know who will win the fight on that one.
I think that's the weirdest question I've ever asked you guys to answer, but we'll go with it.
Somebody said, Rachel Ray's dad says, it's a what's this here sauce.
Yeah. Yep. What's this here sauce? Yeah. I like that. All right. All right. So now we're going to get into the seafood. And what we love about our partnership with, Fulton Fish Market is not only do they get you the best fish in the world, but they're here to support you and partner with us on the best way to cook that fish. And so blackened salmon we've never done before together. And so this is really easy, but the idea behind blackened salmon is you almost want to burn the outside. Not all the way, but you want to take it as close to burn as possible so you get that smoky, those hints, and it should be just smothered in spices. And I love this technique. I think it's just one of those wins every single time. So there's two ways you can cook this. You can cook it on the skin and have that crispy skin, and you can kind of crack that into the salad, or you can take the skin off. We're going to leave the skin on today. So the way I like to handle cooking any piece of salmon, and this is Atlantic salmon, beautiful farmed Atlantic salmon. And nowadays, farmed salmon, if it's the right farm, which of course Fulton Fish Market is going to curate, the fish is just so consistent. It's so buttery. It's so delicious. So what we do with the salmon is I kind of pinch it on both sides like this, kind of plumping it. And then I cut scores, not all the way through the fish, but just through the skin, about 3. There we go. So you kind of have 3 little lines here. All right, and that's going to do 2 things. I'm going to do it on this other one too. I'm going to pinch it and score it. That's going to allow for our spice mixture to get into the flesh, but it's also going to make sure that the skin itself sits flat and it doesn't curl up. You know how salmon sometimes curls up on you? So this will make it really nice and flat and crispy. So what we're going to do next is make this kind of blackened spice. If you want to buy this, go ahead, skip this step. But we like our mixture. We test our mixture. And the only thing I'd say is if you buy it, just look for ones without sugar. You don't need the added sugar into this. So we've got some spices here. We've got some smoked paprika, some cayenne, some garlic, onion powder, salt, and pepper. So all this is just going to go onto a plate. Right? And then I just use my hands, and I just kind of mix this mixture together. And you really want to get nice and evenly mixed. And this is totally a type of spice. You can see by the chili powder and the cayenne and the black pepper. I can already taste it that I'm going to start coughing the second this hits the heat. That's part of it. That's part of the fun. All right. Start flesh side down. Here we go. Beautiful. And you just want to dredge. So you want every inch. This is why we do it in a plate. Skin and all the flesh just coated in this spice mixture. All right? Mop up the spices. And if you have extra, that's cool. Put it in a jar. Obviously not the ones that you rub your raw salmon on, but put it in a jar and save it as your kind of blackening spices. Your blackened spice. You can add those to veggies, scrambled eggs, the whole thing. The longer you let this sit on the fish, the better, like, a couple of hours. But if all you have is a little bit of time like this, great. And then just make sure you kind of stuff a little bit inside those crevices that we opened up. How are we doing in the chat? Any questions I need to address?
I just want to say the smell of that blackened salmon is
know.
so good. Once you gathered it all together, I can smell it.
I know.
People are asking, how many days will this dressing keep if you were to double it?
Okay, so this dressing would keep. The mayo is typically stable that you buy in the grocery store. But once you kind of add the lemon juice and the Worcestershire introduces some new things, I would say like 4 days. 4 days, and then I would probably, I don't think it will go rancid, but it might start to lose its flavor and kind of need a little zhuzh. So I'd say 4 days, and then I would get rid of it. All right. By the way, if you're ever on like that 4th day and you're like, I don't know what to do with this, I don't want to make Caesar again, use it as a marinade. Use it as a marinade. And this is a question I'm sure you guys would ask, would it freeze well? The answer is not this. This won't freeze well. Mayonnaise is an emulsifier. It's kind of difficult, and when it freezes, it gets to be weird. So no freezing on this one. All right, I've got a nonstick pan on a medium-high heat. I'm just going to add a little bit of olive oil to the bottom, and I'm going to take my salmon, and I'm going to just lay it away from me. So that's what I mean by away from me, this way, right? So that way the oil doesn't splash up on me. I've told this story before about one of my first restaurant jobs in the world. I was on the fish station, and I laid that salmon right towards me, and the oil was so hot, it splashed up right on my throat, believe it or not. So it went right here, and I freaked out. I mean, it was like frying me. It was so bad. And the chef was so cool, but we were in the middle of dinner service, but he's like, you got to get to the hospital. So I couldn't get there by myself, so I had to take someone with me. It was a disaster. And if you've ever worked in a restaurant, you know that is like one of the most stressful things in the world is when you lose a chef and then you have to figure out how to kind of make up for it. So I felt terrible as a young cook, but safety first. So I will never, ever lay salmon in the wrong way again. All right, so our Atlantic salmon is in and skin side down, okay? Now, when you're cooking the salmon, I want to be clear, and this is any salmon, this is on the grill, anything. If there's skin on the fillet, I like to cook the skin side for about 80% of the salmon. So I really like to kind of slowly cook it. If you cook it too fast, the skin will burn. So just kind of slowly cook it again. We're at like a 6 out of 10 here. It's just kind of bubbling away. And then for the final 20%, I flip it over to get a little bit of char on the other side. So that's how I kind of do my salmon. You have a question, Lisa? No?
No, I'm just really excited to see what's next after this salmon.
I love it too.
We do have some beautiful fish
Oh
over
my
there.
gosh, it's going to be amazing. By the way, as we talk about our salmon, I've got a fish spatula nearby, so this is going to be what I use to turn it. We'll talk about that. And some people call it a turner. All right, this next one. We all cook salmon. Not a lot of us cook fresh, beautiful anchovies. Look at these. Go try and find these at the local store. You can't. This is why you need Fulton Fish Market in your life, okay? They will make boxes. They will send them to you. I know a lot of our homemakers are huge fans of them and have loved them. In fact, I'll ask you guys, every once in a while I ask you guys to do this. If you have tried Fulton Fish Market, because we've partnered with them for many years now, write it in the chat. We want to know your reviews. Has the seafood shown up? How's the quality? All of that stuff. But one of my favorite things about them is I can't find fresh anchovies. So it's fun to try new, different, interesting seafoods and fish and put that on the table and just kind of work that into the mix. So it's so healthy, very sustainable, and awesome to use. By the way, I'm just going to check our salmon here, make sure. All right. So real quick, we'll go back to the anchovies, but I'm going to hold a piece of the salmon up so you guys can see. It's still raw on top, but Mikhailo, I'm going to bring it over here. You guys can see that there is a white line working itself up the fish. It's about halfway. So in about 1 minute, when that white line is about halfway up the fish, I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to finish it for the last kind of couple minutes on the other side. But for the most part, the skin has just been getting really crispy and dark. Remember, it's got to be as close to burnt, but not burnt. And that's the key with blackened salmon. So plenty of time to show you this little anchovy trick. So when you get fresh anchovies from Fulton Fish Market, this is what I like to do, and this is how, you can kind of quickly take it apart. But I grab one of these little anchovies. They're really easy to handle, and I know they're new and it's a little scary, but don't be scared. You can do this. And I kind of just cut it on an angle. Their heads and their bodies are so thin that it takes almost zero effort to cut, just right off. And it does come kind of with the belly and kind of all the guts and stuff. So you just kind of make an incision. It's not gross. It's kind of like doing like a shrimp or something. And I have a little water nearby, and I kind of just dunk it in the water, get all the guts out, and you already can smell the freshness of this. So what you're left with is kind of just this open anchovy like this. And you can kind of just hold it open, grab it by the tail, and just lift out the spine, just like that. All right, and you're left with these beautiful, perfect anchovy fillets. That's it. It takes about 30 seconds. So easy. So I'm going to flip our salmon. We'll do another one. All right, so I'm going to put my hand on the cold side, give it a quick flip. Oh, that is what I'm talking about. Hugging the line of burnt and not burnt. That is charred to perfection. You want it, I can see caramelization, but blackened.
That's a beautiful crust right there.
That's what we're looking for.
It's going to be a nice crunch.
Yep, and then we're going to cook it a little bit on the other side, but then we're going to absolutely flip it again, and you guys will kind of be able to see what I mean by blackened. So let's do another anchovy while this is happening. So anchovies here. I put these finished ones, by the way, I'm going to put them in a little bit of buttermilk. All right? The buttermilk takes a little bit of that fishiness out. Right? You just kind of toss it through. You can toss it through some yogurt too, but it's also going to cling to our breading that we're making, which will be really nice. All right, so let's do another one here. Grab my anchovy at an angle. I kind of cut off the head. I open up kind of on the stomach. You can see guts are kind of coming out. You put it in some water. You kind of clean out all the guts, which is really easy. And when you're here, you'll just get it. And then you're left with the spine. You just kind of peel the spine. My 3-year-old could do that. And you're left with the easiest, quickest little anchovy situation.
People are not down for cleaning
Why?
or gutting the anchovies.
Why?
But a person did inquire, can you use jarred anchovies in oil? And some people found it kind of hard to find anchovies, like fresh
You
anchovies.
can totally use jarred. Yes. Yes. But I will say, and by the way, nothing against tinned seafood. I like tinned seafood. I've been to restaurants where it's just tinned seafood, and they put it on bread, and it's so good. So I love it. When you try a fresh anchovy, it's like you've never had anchovies before. It's just one of those foods. So I get it. It's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit, I wouldn't even say difficult. It's a little intimidating. But guys, I did that in 30 seconds. It's a great place to start. And if, deboning fish is not your thing, that's fine. But give it a shot because, again, you'll get addicted to fresh anchovies. Every chef in the world I know, obsessed. Lisa, are you obsessed?
I love fresh anchovies, and honestly, it's kind of fun to gut and learn about your fish before you cook it,
That's how I feel. I think that's just like one cool thing to learn. All right. I am going to turn my fish on kind of the other side, and I just want to show you kind of this side of the fish. So this is kind of what I'm talking about by blackened. You can kind of see the color. It's really charring. So I'm just going to turn it so it sits on its side. I want all the edges blackened. Oh, man. Sometimes I stack them up next to each other like that. That's beautiful. Blackened salmon, man. Does it get much better than that over a nice cold Caesar? Oh, so yummy.
People love the Fulton Fish Market. Everyone's
Yes.
saying they're fantastic. The seafood is amazing, arrives in excellent condition.
Oh, I
and
love
some of
it.
the best seafood.
It is legit, guys. I mean, we wouldn't partner with them. And again, 200 years of experience. These are people that, it used to be that they would only pick them for the restaurants in New York, but then they opened up and kind of did this delivery box thing, and now we all get to kind of take advantage of these amazing fishmongers and curators. It's incredible. One more flip on this fish, and I think we're in really good shape. Oh, this looks awesome. All right, so while that last side is kind of charring, I'm going to make a quick crust for these anchovies. Again, you could take them out of oil, put them in buttermilk, and this will work just as great. I've got Parmesan, cornmeal, and a little bit of all-purpose flour. And I'm just going to mix that up. And you can use some of that blackening spice, but I'm just going to go with a little bit of smoked paprika, salt, and pepper. And just kind of mix all that up into a really good kind of crust that's going to sit on top of these anchovies. This snack, this like bar snack of just fried anchovies, if all you're doing is having people over with some cocktails, dude, this is one that should be on the menu. It's so easy and so quick. All right. So I've kind of got two teams happening here. I've got our anchovies that have just been hanging out in buttermilk, and they don't need to marinate in there. They're just kind of soaking away. And then I've got our beautiful dredge. And at this point, I'm going to move this so you can kind of see everything happen. But our salmon is coming off. Turn off the heat here. All right. And I'm just going to literally take this salmon and put it on a plate here. And just let it kind of cool down. You could totally just throw this hot salmon right on top of the salad, but I kind of like it a little room temp. I like it to kind of be a little bit of room temp, but check this out. I want you guys to see it on the plate so you can just see how beautifully caramelized that is. And you can see the skin stayed really flat. That is blackened, beautiful salmon.
Delicious.
Yeah, it smells so smoky and awesome. All right, so salmon is on standby. We are going to kind of crisp up these anchovies. You can use any fish for this. Just let me be clear on that. If anchovies are not your thing, which I know it's not a lot of people's things, any fish can be soaked in buttermilk. Just cut it to kind of like finger size, right? And do the same thing. We're essentially making fish sticks. Let's just call a spade a spade. So if you've got some beautiful cod, gorgeous halibut, even some extra salmon, this would be great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a little station. Whenever I fry, I kind of like to make sure everything is kind of in its place. So I've got a little bit of neutral oil. This is vegetable oil. about halfway up a pan that has a pretty big lip to it. And I'm on about a 5 out of 10, and I've just had this on the whole time. Okay? Then I take my dredging station, I take my anchovies and kind of my crust here, and I put it right next to it so I don't make a huge mess. And then I've got my landing station. So this is just a paper towel lined sheet tray. Really simple. And then nearby that, I've got a spider. And this is just a little, spoon with holes in it so I can leave the oil behind and easily grab these anchovies. Cool? You guys ready to see this thing go down?
They're stoked.
I'm stoked too. All right, here we go. So I grab some of these anchovies. You can use your fingers or just use some tongs. Fresh anchovies you can kind of handle and they'll be fine. And I'm just going to add them all in. Just kind of move them around. Yeah, move them around. Really shake them up. Right? Get in there. Oh, this looks awesome. All right, beautiful. Dredge them good, really good. Kind of press it in. Pick them up and start dropping them in. All right, here we go. Just kind of find them, dredge them. It's like fishing. Literally, you got to find them in that dredge. And if they stick together, they stick together. They're awesome. You can peel them off later. You don't want to do too much, just kind of enough. They just get kind of a quick little dredge. So easy. And they take about 1 minute. They're so small. They're so cute. These little anchovies. They really don't need a ton of time. I love that you guys, it cracks me up that you guys are like, nope, not doing the anchovy thing. I'm telling you, this is why you come to Homemade. You don't come here to do the same old boring recipes you do at home. You do the same chicken, the same salmon, the same shrimp. Trust me, anchovies are a dream, especially when cooked like this, just flash fried, a really light crust. You got the Parmesan going. Awesome. So I'm just kind of moving them around so they don't stick to each other. You can kind of see what they're going to start to look like. They look awesome. And I'm just waiting until they're GBD, golden brown and delicious. How we doing while these last little guys are frying? Any questions?
I love the acronym you just used, GBD. I'm going to use that from now on.
You never heard the
that's
GBD
smooth.
before?
It just sounds smoother.
It's smooth.
Yeah.
It's smooth.
People just say golden brown usually. I like that you're trying to persuade everyone that fresh anchovies are the move, but
They are the
half
move.
are still fighting in the chat, and they don't want to do it, and the other half are down.
All right. I'll take 50%. I'll take 50%. All right. So what I'm doing when I'm frying is I'm doing two things. I'm looking at the bubbles. And when the bubbles start to slow down, that's one thing. The second thing I'm doing is I'm hearing the bubbles. And as the bubbles start to slow down in my ears, as I hear them kind of subdue, that's another moment of saying, okay, these are crispy, these are where I want them, and these look great. So I'm just peeling these out, and then I just kind of drop them on this sheet tray. And you can imagine this not being anchovies and a different fish, but anchovies, again, so sustainable, so cost-effective, and so easy. Fresh anchovies, so easy and so different. And then the second they're out, I give them a little bit of a salting because it can kind of stick at that last second, and you've got these beautiful little fritters. Let me hold this up here. Look at this.
Oh my God, they look so good.
Isn't that awesome? Don't tell me that doesn't look great. Look at that. Look, craggles. You got some Parmesan happening. That looks awesome. And you know it does. Get on the fresh anchovy train. All right. I'm going to turn off my oil. So just to recap where we're at, we've cooked 2 beautiful pieces of seafood, all coming from Fulton Fish Market. We've got our blackened salmon. We've got our gorgeous, gorgeous anchovies. Can we show kind of both of those side by side? Beautiful. Oh, coming on this way. There we go.
That's nice. That's an
juggling.
ultimate salad right there.
There we go. So we got those things happening. And now it's all about the salad. And, I've said this story before, but the very first very first station I was ever put on in my life was garde manger, the cold kitchen, the salad kitchen. And I was upset, man. I was pissed because I wanted to cook with fire. That's what I thought of as a chef. I didn't think, I'll do the salads. But my chef put his arm around me and he said, Joel, salads are so important. They are our first impression at a restaurant, when people come over for dinner. And I don't love when someone serves a salad and it's just like the afterthought. They got some mixed greens, maybe some tomatoes and some carrots. And they put some dressing that they bought. That doesn't do it for me. That doesn't do it. It doesn't kick off the night on the right foot. So there's little steps to make your salad that much better. So this first thing with this Caesar, which I love, and this is such a big, big win, is I took some Parmesan and I just kind of shaved it. Parmesan curls. And I'm just going to add that in. Lots of Parmesan curls. All right. Next, I'm going to give it a little bit of salt. And most people do not salt their salads. It's kind of like their desserts. A lot of people don't salt their brownies and cookies. But salt is going to make everything pop. So just a nice pinch kosher salt from up high. And then I'm going to grab my dressing. And I'm just going to use the spoon that I'm going to toss it with. And I'm just going to grab it and I add it around the salad. Not in the middle, but around. This ensures that it's super evenly distributed. All right, and I leave a little bit behind just because I can always add more. And I just start getting in there with these little salad tongs. You can use your hands if you want. I just find with, Caesar salad, it just gets a little bit clingy to the hands. And you want to take your time here and just really make sure you're kind of bringing the bottom of the salad to the top to the bottom, and you're being gentle. Romaine and radicchio, they're robust, kind of meaty salad greens, so they can take a little bit of a bashing, but you still want to be gentle. You don't want to crush this stuff. That's why I don't love tongs. Tongs is a little bit rough.
We have some alternative questions when it comes to the anchovies.
Tell me.
Can we bake them? And if we bake them, what temp and for how long?
Yes, you can dredge them and bake them. I might put them on a wire rack so that they can get the heat underneath of them. What would be killer is to air fry them if you're an air fryer. So that would be great. And I'd air fry them for about 5 minutes, 7 minutes, real quick, 400 degrees.
Another person asked, doesn't the salt on the salty anchovies make it too salty? Plus the Parmesan is salty.
Yeah. Yes, it can. This is all salty. Worcestershire is salty. There's salt in our blackened salmon rub. So it can all kind of hedge on being too salty. So just kind of adjust where necessary. If you're going extra Parmesan, take a little salt out. If you don't want, the anchovies themselves are not naturally salty, just the salt that I kind of added at the end. So yeah, you just kind of have to taste for kind of how much salt, how much cheese, how much Worcestershire you're adding. But no, it won't be overly salty. This will be really nicely balanced. That's a good question.
Can we reuse the seasoned leftover oil?
I would say no. Whenever I fry fish, like fish and chips or something like that, the oil, I mean, it's fat. It just takes on the flavor of whatever you fry in there. That's fine if you're frying zucchini. That's fine if you're frying maybe vegetables of any sort. But when it comes to fish, sometimes I think it's overpowering and you get that kind of seafoody thing. So I would toss it. And a lot of people wonder how to toss it. Best way to do it is to let it cool down and put it inside a container. So let it get completely cool, put it down in a plastic container, and then if it's compost, you can actually pour, if the container itself is compostable, you can compost it. If not, I put a lid on top of it and put it in the trash. All right. Well, here we go. Let's assemble this puppy. So salad's been tossed. I'm not going to toss it anymore with the fish because I want the fish to kind of shine. So I'm going to start with my anchovies, and I'm just going to kind of lay these little crispy guys everywhere. And these are like croutons. Let's just call spade a spade, right? These kind of take the place of croutons. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. I'm going to prop it up so you guys can see this salad be in all of its glory. That looks great. So there's one. And then I take my salmon, and you can kind of peel back the skin. And to me, that is like a chef snack, or you can tear it off into the salad itself. But I just take this fish, and it is beautifully cooked. Look at that. Just opaque all the way through, blushing pink, and I just kind of rip.
My mouth is watering just
Is
looking at
it?
you make that salad.
I know. And my mouth is watering too. And I just kind of rip this salmon anywhere where I see a little space. Just bite-sized pieces. I like the ripped versus like a cut. I just think it looks more natural. And there you have it. You can tuck in some lemon just in case someone wants a little squeeze. And honestly, this is the meal. Like, I don't think you need a side with this. Maybe a good crusty loaf of bread. But I don't think this needs anything else. Maybe gazpacho in the hot days would be kind of nice. But check this out, guys. So gorgeous, so different. Not your average Caesar salad. And the seafood in this sings. And again, if you want the best seafood in the world, you need to visit Fulton Fish Market. We put all the links in the chat. And I know for a fact, when you sign up for their bundles, you actually save a lot of money. So it's worth signing up for. It's worth trying. They are unbelievable at giving people kind of a trial so you can see the quality. They stand behind their quality 110%. So we can tell you right now, they ship us all of our seafood for these classes. We've never once had a single problem, which is kind of nuts. Kind of nuts. That's why you're in business for 200 years. All right, let's try this out. A little bit of anchovy going on the fork.
Wow, Lena has her salad up.
Let me see.
Look at that.
Lena! Wow, Lena's look great. Lena, make sure to post that at Homemade is Live. All right, I'm getting in there. I want a little bit of anchovy, a little bit of everything. Here we go.
I hear the crunch. That's how good it is. I hear the crunch from here.
Wow. So, I mean, Caesar's just such a good base. It's lemony, it's, like I said, umami and salty, but then you add in and layer in that blackened Atlantic salmon, and it's buttery and rich, and then the crunch of the fresh anchovies. And when you taste a fresh anchovy, I don't know how to describe it other than it tastes like the ocean, like an oyster, or it just, not too briny, but it just transports you. And it is just like addictive. These are like just the best snack in the world. No crouton on earth holds a candle to these little crispy fried anchovies. Worth the effort, and I know worth you guys getting a little out of your comfort zone to try them out. All right, one more bite. I just got to do it. This is like one of those things I got to eat.
Fish croutons for the win, for sure.
Right? That, I'm telling you, top 10, one of my favorite things to make is a good Caesar salad. And when you layer on incredible seafood, it knocks you out of the park. You guys, I hope that you took away some really good tips today. Again, I know seafood can be really intimidating, but Fulton Fish Market kind of takes the guesswork out of it, right? They go find you the best fish. They source it. They have 200 years of experience. They send it right to you. And then we have classes together to really empower you to make sure that you can rock this out at home. So this is a little bit of a PSA of me saying, get out of your comfort zone, try a new piece of seafood, whether it's anchovy or anything else, and pair it with something that's familiar, like a Caesar salad. You'd be really surprised on how it elevates it and takes it to a whole nother level. Thank you to Fulton Fish Market. We love you guys. Thank you to you guys. Couple of announcements. One is we have a YouTube page. Ladies and gentlemen, this is so exciting for us because we've always been kind of here and meeting virtually, but we're going to now be on YouTube, and we've got hundreds of thousands of subscribers on YouTube. So if you miss a class, you can always catch it on YouTube, and that's really exciting. So you can go check us out. Just Google or just YouTube Homemade, and Homemade is Live, and it will come right up. And you can watch a lot of our episodes from Homemade Live, our PBS show, which is going to be on there as well. Really exciting. Next week, we got coming up an amazing class. We are doing on Tuesday the 13th, fluffy custard pint. What is it?
Donuts. I just have
Donuts?
terrible handwriting.
The handwriting. Wait, we're doing donuts next week? That is really exciting. Fluffy custard donuts from scratch? I'm not teaching that. I'm sure someone who's better with the pastry will be teaching that one. I'm really excited about that. Now that's in my brain. I need to finish some fluffy custard donuts. You guys, I'm going to sit here and snack on anchovies and fresh salmon. Take care. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week on Homemade. See you, everybody.